Jets at noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Just kind of had to wait and see what's going on with all the injuries. So I'll talk to Muller here one more time and see where everybody's at. That's why I'm not 100% sure what it's going to look like tonight.
That's head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, Scott Arniel. So I'm going to give you the rundown for the morning skate, which happened at 10 a.m. our time. But I don't know how much information it's actually going to give us, Jim Toth. But we're going to talk about it, that's for sure.
Well, we are the information station, so we should have some information.
Pre-game show starts at 5. Pre-game show starts at 4. Puck drop at 6 here on 680 CJOBs. The Winnipeg Jets take on the Philadelphia Flyers.
From the Del Boca Vista Arena. Is that what it's called now?
Xfinity Mobile.
Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Wells Fargo, no more.
They ran out of money, Wells Fargo. Next is that golf.
The problem is, it's these banks, they're struggling.
If there's a business that's struggling to make money, it's a bank.
Jets at Noon is brought to you by
Next is that golf tournament.
Wash Method Car Wash.
Wells Fargo.
690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. I'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Jim Jackson, the Flyers play-by-play voice, is going to be joining us right after 12:30, where we're going to dig right into the Flyers, who are kind of an intriguing team this year under Rick Tocchet. I'm not sure what to expect from them, and I hope we can maybe smooth a little bit of the edges around our knowledge of the Philadelphia Flyers when Jim Jackson joins us.
Jimmy J.
But after skipping Wednesday's workout for maintenance, Jess Connor and Gustav Nyquist are back on the ice for the morning skate today, which is good news. Here were the lines as they came out: Connor, Scheifele, Velarde, Iafallo, Taves, Tanner Pearson on the second line, Niederreiter, Nemestikov, and Nyquist on the third, Koepke, Barron, and Chibrikov on the fourth line, with Ford as the extra forward. But, and we'll get to the defense in just a second, Nikita Chibrikov was the one who stayed on for extra work.
Parker Ford drawing in then.
Yeah. Parker Ford was...
Ford truck.
That's right. So, I'm not really sure what's going on with the lines. Is Pearson holding a spot? Is Ford, it seems like, okay, you know what? Here, let's play Scott Arniel. This is Scott Arniel, which starts with a question from the Free Press's Ken Weed.
Looks like Parker Ford may draw in.
He might, yeah. He might. He's a possibility. He's healthy, ready to go. So
didn't stay on for extra work.
We'll see what happens there at the start of warm-up.
I mean, you said you didn't want to keep anybody out for a long time.
Yeah.
What did you notice about his game in terms of growth from training camp and what you saw last year?
Yeah, consistency. Sort of shift in, shift out. I think he, we slid him into the middle to play some center ice in camp, something he had done in college, and thought he was really good there, and just gave us kind of another avenue to go with through the middle of the ice. He's also really good on face-offs that we noticed, and so just a lot of good things. He deserved the chance to start the year with us.
That's Parker Ford. I have no idea where he's going to be. Probably on the fourth line. I mean, if Chibrikov comes out, probably with Koepke and Barron. I don't think you'd move forward into a line with Iafallo and Taves.
I think he'll be on the fourth line, yeah. And I think that Pearson will stay up there on the second line.
So why? Why, Jim Toth, do you think Pearson is on the second line?
Because I think he's obviously coming off a game where he had his first goal this season. He's had a couple points. He moved up there against the Islanders, did he not? And then he looked good there as a veteran and tried to get some more veteran experience up there. Look, Chibrikov, we all know is a good player.
He's made some brilliant plays.
But he does not have the experience of a Pearson, who's won a Stanley Cup in years in the league. And I think that he's made some nice plays. He looked a little nervous in the first period of the first game against Dallas last Thursday, in my opinion. And then he sort of settled in. But I don't want to make this into something that I don't know that it is, because I don't know this. But there's been a couple times in the first two games, at least, Taves was looking at Chibrikov and trying to help him out on where to be and where to go. And I think that's kind of stuff that Pearson will know, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it's that they had a little instant chemistry, and Chibrikov is looking for some chemistry. And I just think it's a new look. Plus, the line scored. So what are we looking at here? We've talked about two things since the start of the season. I don't want to call it patience, but they're not waiting around. They're not, waiving the players that can be waived and keeping David Gustafsson safe. Now, David Gustafsson passed through, but that's not Jets-like. They haven't waited around to move the lines around. This is go time. They know, in my opinion, how I feel is they know they are in tough at the start of the year to tread water and pile up some wins here until the reinforcements come off the injury list. And they're not going to wait around for 4, 5, 6, 7 games for Chibrikov to produce something. And now the fact that he's still in the lineup should tell fans all that what I'm saying isn't negative. It isn't like you're being demoted, because if he's not in the game tonight, then he's had 3 looks, and Pearson's looked better in all the games than Chibrikov has he not?
It's interesting, Jim, because this is coming off a 5-2 win.
Yes.
Against the Islanders. They've won 2 in a row.
That's what I mean.
Like, that's what I'm saying. That reinforces what you're saying. It's because in years past, it's like, well, it was a winning lineup. The Jets carried that, except for, periods of time, but you're going up against a National Hockey League opponent. There's going to be times, regardless if you're playing the worst team in the league, that the other team is going to come at you. They're going to have the momentum. That happened against the Islanders, but the Winnipeg Jets won that game 5-2 quite handedly. They're easily. Not like the LA game, but there's no resting on the laurels here. They're like this. The Jets. Yeah. The Jets are. Is there a mentality shift?
I think there is.
I think there is too.
And we've been talking about this since the start of the year.
Yeah.
Since the waiving of David Gustafsson, whom you did not have to waive if you wanted to protect him outright.
Yeah, and you're going to see him you're going to see him on the Jets at some point this year.
It's win now, Cam. This is all about the Stanley Cup. Absolutely. This is what teams who have been in and around it and are focused solely right out of training camp, we're not afraid to mention the word Stanley Cup. This is what we're here for. This is what it's about. This is what we've grown to. And I think they're running the team that way. Mm-hmm. You've had 3 games. This looked better. I'm going with it.
You know what the most telling thing to me is when Scott O'Neill, after that first game against Dallas, after they lost, he said, "That's not us.
That's not us."
The expectations and the bar for this team is significantly higher than it was this time last year.
It's at a different level.
Yeah.
It is win now. And win now means every single game, every single night.
That's right.
It's not let's go for the first month, let's try to be above 500.
Yeah.
No, it's win now. I wonder if it's a little Mike O'Shea, where Mike O'Shea is 1 week at a time. I don't care that we only completed 3 passes in a win in Ottawa. That was last week. We won the game. I don't care what it looked like. We lost to Edmonton. We looked at that film and then we quickly moved on to Saskatchewan. It's about this week. I want to win this week. It's win now. And so there's not a lot of room here, right? Now they're trying to figure stuff out with some of these lines. Like there's 4 forwards here that haven't been here before.
Yeah.
But things look great against the Islanders, but we know who did some damage, who didn't. And I think that, Parker Ford is given an opportunity here. I think the defense is going to be run like this. Have a bad game, I'll give you a chance to recover. Have 2, we got others.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about I follow Taves and Pearson? I mean, Taves' game is really starting to round out. Like you're already seeing him. You're seeing him actually. It's actually so interesting to watch, Jim, because you're watching Taves every single shift just get a little bit more comfortable, get a little bit back to the way that he was before.
Yes, he's gotten better every game.
Yeah.
And even from game 1, there's that instincts and that hockey IQ there.
Yeah. I
believe.
So is it better to surround him with sort of the Iafallos and the Pearsons, like veterans?
Yes, yeah.
Than having to be like, hey, let's call up Lambert and put him in that position.
I don't think Taves would ever bring it up. And I don't think it would be something that was brought up to Chibrikov. But I've seen twice in the 2 home games, one in Dallas and one the other, where it wasn't even what are you doing, where are you going?
Yeah.
It was an offside at the blue line, and instead of going to the bench or back, to the face-off circle, there was a skate towards Chibrikov, and Chibrikov skated towards him, and they had a conversation. And it was clear to me that it was, you've got a whatever. And I think Chibrikov embraces that. I'm not trying to be this is a problem. It's not a problem. Yeah. It's a good thing. But in the meantime, here's a guy who's won a Stanley Cup. He's played really good in the first 3 to 4 games of this season, and we put him up there. He got some points last game, and he's playing well. Let's put him with the veterans.
The fourth line has been a pretty dang good performer. Is there? I mean, you're obviously going to favor a second line, a guy with playing with Jonathan Taves over a fourth line. But is there a little bit of some issues? You're disrupting.
So would you put Chibrikov on the fourth line or bring Ford in?
I'd bring Ford into play.
I think they're bringing Ford in, Cam, because again, to the point of this is win now.
Yeah.
You're not going to wait 12 games and then go, we better get a guy a game, and make sure they're going to have everybody ready every single night going for the entire year and into the playoffs. They don't want Ford. If Ford's going to be here, because he could be waived, if he's going to be here, he's not going to sit for 10 games. He's going to be a part of this because we might need him. And let's be honest, they've had a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
Not just the ones before the regular season, but Koepke's been banged up. Fleury's missed a game. There's guys hurting. Let's get guys in.
So we'll see what the lineup looks like during the warm-up when it takes to the ice later this evening, sometime between the pregame show and puck drop at 6 right here on 680 CJOB. Morrissey, DeMello on defense, Stanley and Pionk, Fleury and Shen, Cale Clegg and Miller, your extra defenseman, Connor Hellebuck in net. Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, Jim Jackson, Flyers play-by-play voice, is going to be joining us after 12:30. Give us the inside scoop on what's going on in Flyers land. And Jim, the Flyers lose 3-1 yesterday. Are they a bad team?
Yeah, they're not a very good team.
We'll talk about this when we come back.
They made improvements, but...
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Well, in the Utah Mammoth home opener, J.J. Peterka and Barrett Hayton score second period goals as those tallies lift them over the Calgary Flames 3-1. Carol Vermelko only needed to make 19 stops. So the Flames, over their first 5 games, they're -9 in goal differential. They're 1-4. They have not won in regulation or overtime, as the game they did win was that shootout victory over the Oilers, where they did come back from a 3-0 deficit. Flames they're just not that good, Jim.
No, and I saw an interesting thing on X yesterday. Somebody put out, which I thought was really funny. They said that the Flames finally are what we all knew they were for the past 2 years. Terrible. They suck. And they're not going to fluke their way into 96 points again. And I looked at that. I'm like, you know what? I don't know how they tied for St. Louis for the final
it's actually
playoff
a
spot
miracle.
And missed by a thing.
Yeah.
It was all Wolf, right?
Yep.
And now Wolf it's not playing poorly, but you have video on him. And then you still have to defend in front of him, right?
Correct.
And they're just not a very good deep team, but that's the National Hockey League. That's what makes it fascinating. I mean, I'll look at this and go, how did they almost make the playoffs last year?
Yeah.
Look at that roster.
They lost it on a tiebreaker.
Yes. And so I'm like, how did they? Because they're not a very good team. And the other one is where they're playing tonight. Like, I don't know what these guys are, but they weren't pushing for a playoff spot last year, right?
No.
So I found that an interesting take yesterday, that you're right. Like, they're really young. They got a lot of talent, but there's not a lot of experience there. They're not deep. And they had a really good young goalie who really was impressive. But unless he steals games, are the Flames going to win lots?
Depth is the most important thing in the National Hockey League in this day and age. Jim Jackson, play-by-play voice for the Flyers, will be with us when we come back.
They work. They're quick. They have a really good transition game. They've got some people that can really skate and offensively push the pace forward. You can see that there are some changes to what maybe what was played here last year, and some of the similarities that Talk had in Vancouver. And I think that they're really trying to be responsible defensively and not give up a lot of opportunities, and then add the offense to it. Obviously it's a good young team with talent.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the Philadelphia Flyers.
I don't either, and I think they've made some good moves, like the Zegras trade, and
it's working out
like
so
that.
far. Yeah,
but I don't know what to make of them. I don't know what they are, and but they're going in a new direction. I do like the hiring of Tocchet, though. I think that can make a difference for sure. But it'll be interesting tonight on what they are, what they have, and where they're going. Jets
at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Very happy to have Jim Jackson, Flyers play-by-play voice, on the program. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Great, guys. How are you?
Good.
Fantastic.
Good to have you.
Fantastic. This is something we always talk about. When you have a guy like Rick Tocchet, who's a legend in Philadelphia, right, as a player, and then he comes back as a coach. It's tough for him to go higher in the minds of Flyers fans. There's always that potential. Hey, there's either he hits the apex or he falls flat. It's like you're risking more than just your reputation when you take a job like in Philadelphia. So how's Rick Tocchet sort of instilled himself back into the organization, which in a lot of ways he's never left?
Well, it is interesting because the other night in the home opener, he got the largest ovation, I would say, and more so than any player. And that gives to the popularity he has here. Probably 5 or 6 games in when they debate his fourth line center selection or something. Yeah. As much of an ovation because that's what happens with coaches, right? Coaches and GMs basically you sacrifice popularity because everybody thinks they can do it better even though they can't. But that's just what we are as fans. We think we have all the answers. So Tocchet's fully aware of that. Will he get that same kind of ovation at next year's home opener? I don't know. I think probably he will because he has he is really ingrained into this hockey community because of, as you talked about, his playing days. He had 2 stints, one as a young guy who just exploded on the scene during the Mike Keenan era in the 80s, and then he came back as a veteran and helped lead a club to a run in deep into the playoffs in 2000. So he's certainly meshed with success in the past as a player. He's not here because of that, though. The reason the management hired him is because of what he's done as a coach. They were very impressed with what he did, even as far back as when he was in the desert in Arizona with a team that was at the very bottom, the very beginning of a rebuild. He made them competitive, and then obviously he had a very good year in Vancouver 2 years ago. Last year, more challenges. But he was well-respected. When he was out there were other teams that wanted him as coach. So it's clear that he was in demand. And really what he's going to do is try to instill the same kind of principles that he had as a player. He doesn't want to see the Flyers ever outworked. And you won't have to go very far in that direction. John Tortorella had already instilled that in this team. They were not easy to play against. They obviously were not in the playoffs. Many would say due to a lack of front-end talent. I would debate that those days are over, at least up front. They might need some more on the back end, but I look at the Flyer forward group right now, and I see other teams' third and fourth lines that aren't any more. In fact, are probably less talented than the Flyers. They run pretty deep when you're talking about skilled forwards now, and you're talking about Tippett and Konecny and Michkov and Forster's an emerging star, and Couturier is still showing he's got something left. Noah Cates is developing. Zegras added to that mix. Bobby Brink is really becoming quite a player. So they have plenty of high-end talent now up front. So I think that excuse has gone out the window. But as far as Tocchet goes, I think that they basically have to adhere to his principles. And some of his are different than Torch, not the hard work part, but certainly he wants the team to hold on to the puck more. They've been a great transition team over the last couple of years. He would love to, of course, keep that up, but he wants to see them establish themselves in the offensive zone a little bit more, get the cycle game going, score some goals off of that. And he thinks if they could do that along with what they already have in the transition game, it'll be a pretty potent club.
Yeah, the concern seems right now on the defense, right? I mean, Cameron York, Rasmus Ristolainen out. I mean, those are 2 huge blows.
Yeah, huge. York is back tonight, so that is really good news for them. York and Sanheim, when you go by analytics, one of the top pairs in terms of expected goals. Some people get into that, some don't, but it meant that the puck was usually in the offensive end a lot more than the defensive end when those two are on the ice together, so they'll probably be back together, and that lets Nick Seeler drop back and play with Jamie Drysdale. They were a nice pair toward the end of last year. But they don't have as much depth back there. Ristolainen is not back in at least another month or so, so without him, they're playing a rookie, and they're playing Noah Juleson, who's been kind of a in and out of the lineup kind of defenseman in his career. So the depth back there isn't there. Oliver Blanca, one of their top prospects, also was hurt this year in training camp. So the injuries have hit one position for the Flyers. They've been relatively knock on wood healthy up front in net, but on D, they've gotten all their injuries. And so it's left them a little thin. They have some other prospects on the way, but I think if there was an area the Flyers are going to add via trade or free agency down the road, it would probably be on the blue line. Having said that, York is a nice addition. They were able to play very competitive games against real good teams through their first 3 games without Cam. When you're talking about 2 games against Florida and in a game against Carolina, teams that really make it tough on opposing defenses because they're in your face, they're on you, and the defense held up. They didn't get dominated by any stretch of the imagination. Now with York added to the mix, they're hopeful that not playing perhaps as tough a schedule. Winnipeg certainly notwithstanding, they're a very difficult team, but after tonight's game, the schedule eases a little bit in terms of quality of opponent for the Flyers. So they're hoping that this D can not only hold what they've done through the first 3 games, but even improve.
Jim, how's the Flyers goaltending situation? I mean, you got a really good young one that looks like a bright future, and you bring in a vet backup like Dan Vladar. We just talked about the defense. How's the goaltending going to be this year in your mind?
It's quite interesting because when Dan Vladar got the start in the opener, I think it surprised some people. This was expected to be Sam Harrison's net, with Vladar being the backup, or a 1-1A situation. And actually, Rick Tocchet saying it's a complete split right now, and if somebody grabs it, they grab it. So Dan Vladar, he's had 2 good games so far. Sam Harrison's had 1 good game, and that's almost as many good games as the Flyers had last year from their goaltending. So the save percentage last year was .879. You just can't win with that. You could have all kinds of other strengths in your team, but if your goalies are allowing goals at that clip, it's tough to overcome. Sam Harrison last year had streaks where he was okay, had injury issues. The guys who filled in for him, Ivan Fedotov was gone, and Alex Kolosov was in the minors, just didn't really give the Flyers a lot consistently. And so they really suffered in that. I think that's where Vladar will really help. And if he's going to compete with Sam, they're both really likable guys. They seem to get along really well. It seems like a healthy competition. I think it will help the team. If they can get that save percentage up closer to 900, which is getting to be the league average these days, then this team has a real shot to make the playoffs, in my opinion. Last year, so many games that could have gone the other way. If they could have had a save here, a save there, or not a soft goal there, and if they can get to just league average or close to league average goaltending, and maybe league average or close to league average power play, which they haven't had in a long time, then this team, to me, should be in the mix for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. But we'll see if those 2 ifs can become whens, because obviously the power play has struggled here for 3 or 4 years, and the goaltending has been really a problem since Carter Hart left. So they have to figure out those 2 things, I think, to become real contenders.
Trevor Zegras is such an interesting guy. I just don't think he found a stride in Anaheim, and it seemed like his game was going in the opposite direction. What have you seen from him so far over his short tenure as a member of the Flyers?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've seen his skill. We all saw his skill even when he was in the juniors, in the World Junior Tournament, when he led that great USA team. And then, obviously, in his first 2 years with Anaheim. And then injuries set in, and perhaps he was in a situation where they didn't want him at center. They put him on the wing, and Greg Cronin was really trying to get him to play better defensively. And I think that was good for Trevor. I think it was good for him to go through that, because I think Rick Tocchet wants the same thing. I will say this. When I saw him in training camp and you watch some of the stuff he does in practice, his skill level is beyond what I thought it was. And I had pretty high expectations going in. He can do some unbelievable things with the puck. I mean, I didn't think Matvei Michkov would even have competition for being the most skilled forward. I think Zegras might be more skilled than Matvei Michkov. He's just unbelievable with his hands, and some of the stuff, the things he thinks of are just not, they're so out of the box that, trying, for instance, as we all know, when he was in Anaheim, the lacrosse pass. I mean, there's just things that he tries that no one else tries. I mean, a lot of people try lacrosse goals, but who tries a lacrosse pass? So, I mean, he's done some things and will continue to do things. But really what's going to keep him in the lineup isn't going to be that. It's going to be whether or not he at least plays with enough attention to detail defensively. That doesn't mean he's going to be a Selke Trophy winner at any point. What it means is he just can't be on the wrong side of the puck all the time. And so far, I think he's really worked hard at that. There are times, I think, when he might panic a little bit defensively, but I think that he's getting better. His energy's great. And he had an assist the other night, which showed he's hardly a soft player. I mean, he took a full run from Sam Bennett, and Aaron Ekblad was able to get away from that and make an unbelievable pass to Sean Couturier for the game-winning goal. So I think he's a great addition to this team. And as I said, just another upgrade to the talent level up front, which to me now is a pretty talented group.
Jim Jackson, Flyers play-by-play voice. Jim, we only got about 30 seconds here, but I just wanted to ask your thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets and the matchup tonight.
Well, the Jets to me are going to be a really good team again, and they're very talented. A little banged up, but teams are getting banged up early now. I mean, really, it's going to be for them. It's such a tough division they're in, and I just it could go either way with that division. I think they're a playoff team. I don't think they're President's Trophy again this year. That's really difficult to do, but I think they're one of the teams that you have to really be concerned about if you're in the West and you're playing them in the playoffs. I will say this, though. It really comes down to Hellebuck. He's got to be the same goalie in the playoffs that he is in the regular season. You guys have heard that ad nauseum.
A few times, yeah.
And so for poor Connor, it's really, well, there's going to be the Olympics too, but once that's over, it's really all about the playoffs. He could have another President's Trophy season. It's all about the playoffs for him, and got to think eventually he can come through.
Jim Jackson, Flyers play-by-play voice. Jim, thanks so much. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Thanks, Jim.
Anytime, guys.
Yeah, talk soon. 204-780-6868.
I liked what he said there.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, but he doesn't have an answer for that, but if they have the patience for it, right?
Yeah.
Like, will they wait for this to come to fruition with these young players?
Well, they kind of have no choice.
And with Tocchet there, I was going to say, you can't put a timeline on it, but will they give him 3 years? Will they give him this year, next year, and the year after to sort of see where they're at? Or are you going to be a year and a half, be terrible, and go, well, we got to make a change or whatever? Because I think that's what's lost in today's NHL and pro sports is the patience to see something like this through. Because he's right about the pieces he mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wanted to squeeze this in because there's some news coming out about Vegas and Carter Hart. That's why I cut off our conversation with Jim Jack just a little bit early, just so we can make sure that we get this on the record. What's going on with Carter Hart and the Vegas Golden Knights?
Well, Vegas has a statement that so the rumors are going around, the rumors that people were hearing that they've signed him to a 2-year deal. It's Elliot Friedman's reporting. It's a PTO right now, but this is a statement just put out by the Vegas Golden Knights following the reinstatement decision agreed on by the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association. Goaltender Carter Hart will be joining the Vegas Golden Knights organization. The Golden Knights are aligned with the process and assessment the NHL and the NHLPA made in their decision. We remain committed to the core values that have defined our organization from its inception and expect that our players will continue to meet these standards moving forward, is the statement put out by the Golden Knights. I saw a 2-year deal. Now Elliot Friedman saying it's a PTO. Darren Dreger confirming Carter Hart has signed a PTO, which will be converted to an NHL contract down the road. So he comes in on a PTO. He has a 2-year deal. I believe it's worth $1.8 million, and that'll kick in if the PTO goes well. And
now, if I'm not mistaken, he can't play until December 1st, right? He won't be eligible to play until December 1st.
I don't think he can. That's the PTO part. So I think he gets the PTO basically to get him in the organization and then playing probably in the A or just working out on the ice. And then by December 1st,
at the end of the day, he's been acquitted. So he was charged and he was found not guilty. And this is the decision that has been made, and that's all that we can go by.
And he's the first of the 5 that were charged in that case, all proven not guilty.
Yes,
of what they were charged with to get a deal in the National Hockey League.
So regardless how you feel about it, he's innocent. Let's take a break. Let's come back on the other side. 204-780-6868. 204-780.
In the eyes of the law.
Correct. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza. Let's take a break. On the other side, we're going to give away our VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method. Have you been following this story out of Milan with the rink?
I have not. This is new to me when you brought it up. Belong to Minsk. An Olympic hockey player's unbridled journey from Milan to Minsk.
I adore stories like this. And I'll tell you why when we come back.
With Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Miss your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. The VIP text comes from Kim. who says, I think Arniel is settling in as a second-year head coach. This is his team. Ville and Gus are waived. And happy birthday to your son, Cam. I voted for him. Yes, my son is up for Baby of the Year. Dorian is up for Baby of the Year.
Is he?
Yes.
And
it's all for charity. But we
Can he win you like a new car?
$25,000 but it's all for charity. It's all stuff like that. I had a trip to New York and Variety Magazine and all that kind of stuff. So please support my son. All the money goes to charity. You can find it. Just go vote for him. Vote for him every day.
Cam Poitras.
Yes, it's for charity. It's a great charity.
Toth.
Baby to baby. Yeah, you're in on it too, Jim. I'm not going to forget you. Just go to my X account, Cam at Noon, CAMATNOON, Cam at Noon. And then vote for my son for Baby of the Year in support of Baby to Baby charity. So thanks for that, Kim, and thank you for voting for my little guy. This story, Jim, I adore this kind of stuff. These kinds of stories is why I come into radio. I love this stuff. So there's a bit of a disaster going on with where the NHL, not the NHL. They're making it very clear that the NHL has nothing to do with this. Where the Olympics will play, the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, where they will play the hockey, right? The rink.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Construction has been slow. The organizing CEO says completion is going to be very close to the start of the games with the timeline very tight. The NHL says that they've been bringing up concerns to the IIHF. To the IOC, I should say. IHF has nothing to do with this as well. This is the IOC. They brought up concerns for 2 years regarding the progress of the rink that will host Olympic hockey. And they brought up those concerns. The NHLPA says, hey, we have nothing to do with this. We've been telling them for 2 years that this is a disaster looming.
Don't look at us.
In February, the completion's not done. And it's not just hockey. It's concessions, it's bathrooms, it's everything. So the NHL and Gary Bettman are saying, no, don't come crying to us, NHLPA, if this rink sucks. You guys are the ones that want this so bad.
You know what they need? They need to get the Costco people on this, because I heard the Costco at Headingley needs to be open by November 1st, and they are just grinding everybody in overtime and everything. Send those people. Once the Costco here opens November 1st, they should send all those employees building that thing out over to Italy to get this done.
Suffice to say, I will be watching this story very closely, Jim Toth.
Costco Arena.
We'll take you all the way until 2. Thank you very much, every 4 champion producer of the show. That's it for me. Back same time. More for Free For All Friday. See ya.